Peter Rofner from Richmond Nurseries, hello to you.
Hello.
Hockey season should be here, and with it, cold weather. I know today's going to be a bit warm, strange days, but actually that kind of plays into what we're talking about. Protecting your plants from all sorts of things in the winter. Some of those things you might not think about. What are we looking to do in terms of protection?
Well, usually it's about 6 things, right? So you have rodents.
Okay.
From the weather, you have snow load, the south sun, wind, then you have salt, and then of course just plain old cold.
Right. So sun is surprising to me.
Sun is surprising. Sun does a number on trees on the south side, young trees on the bark, and on emerald cedars.
So the sun can be intense in the winter.
Yeah, what it does, it basically it lets the cells start flowing and stuff like that, and then you get a cold snap, and then they all burst.
Okay.
So you get sun scald on the south side.
Ah, I see.
So you want to shelter those from the sun. That's why you can use, like for trees, you can use the plastic wrap, or you can even just put burlap around the trunk.
I see that a lot.
Yeah, and that'll just shade the trunk. Once the trunk gets old and furrowed, then it's not a problem anymore.
So what we're trying to avoid is reactivating the tree. You want them to stay dormant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta have them stay dormant.
So this is good. I've seen this around young trees.
Yep.
What's this for?
This is for snow load. Okay? You get some those evergreens that are really tight up, but when the snow hits it, they'll collapse open.
Right.
So all you do is you wrap this around, and it just holds them up.
Okay. So almost like that's what I get my Christmas tree wrapped in.
Yep. Same
when
type
you
of
go
thing.
to Richmond Nursery. There you go.
Same type of thing.
Yeah. And so that because those branches are frozen, they're more apt to snap. Right?
Exactly. And they're really, really, really tight upright. They have a very long piece that goes all the way up, so it's not very strong.
Things you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
this is a frost blanket. This is usually used to extend the season.
Okay.
It's very thin, so it's not much for winter protection, but it's one of those ones you put on in the fall to keep your mums a little longer, or if you start your stuff outside to protect it a little bit longer.
Gotcha.
Right? So don't use this as full. This is your next closest. This is it's called Arbortex. It's a fabric and it's got plastic on one side.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be plasticky, but on the inside it is that fabric.
Exactly. So instead of this one, this is what you're using for protect for temperature for like roses and whatnot.
Okay.
And the nice thing is when you put it over, say you put it over your roses, you put the plastic side outside and then it doesn't become a sponge.
I see.
And that's kind of what you're trying to do. And it's always good to do that once the ground starts to freeze so mice don't move in.
People who really take care of their gardens, it actually is a good looking thing when you see a well-organized garden, well taken care of into the winter. It actually is presentable too, right?
Exactly.
And you've got several options. You talked about burlap earlier. Burlap's the go-to.
Burlap, the only catch is if there's a lot of salt, don't let it touch your plant because it'll absorb salt and hold the salt against the plant.
Okay.
So you put sticks and make a little wall.
Okay.
And that's what you do with burlap just because there's a bit of a catch.
This product says it's a better alternative than burlap.
It's more reusable.
Okay.
And it doesn't let quite as much through, and you're going to find it does last longer. It's just like a big, thick, fuzzy felt.
Yeah, it's like a fiber there going on. So
exactly. So again, it's 6 of one, 1/2 dozen of the other.
Salt is something I wouldn't have thought of either, but of course, there's so much of it on the roads and being splashed up, and anything near your walkways too, right?
Exactly, and that's where burlap is good because it's disposable, and you just throw some stakes in the ground, bamboo, whatever, and it'll catch the salt.
Perfect.
That's exactly.
What's that product over there?
This is called Scoot. This is when you have critters that go after trees, especially young fruit trees like apples.
And this time of year, you're still going to see that, huh?
Oh, they're going to do it in the winter because there's less food available.
Right.
So if you don't want to use the plastic ones, which do and don't work, if you have a bunch of trees, you use this. It has to be above 4 degrees, and you just paint it on the bark.
Today's a good day for it.
Today is a perfect day for it, and lots of trees. It works great, and it basically tastes like absolutely horrid. So.
That's all it is. It's
basically,
it's a bad tasting.
Yeah, it's a chemical, but it's really nasty. Yeah, you don't want to put that in your mouth.
Don't eat your trees after that.
No.
All right, excellent. So and then as you head into spring. In terms of removing this, it's just that easy to remove
Basically, yeah. Well, you basically remove it. These ones are usually the kicker. People leave these on, and they'll start to choke the tree. So you're going to put these on in the fall and take them off in the spring again.
Don't forget.
Don't leave that on.
Okay.
And then in the spring, once it starts to warm up and the snow's gone, you can take off the protection of roses and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because if they're protected too long, they can stretch.
What I like about this conversation is when we talked about spring.
Yes. You're always anticipating the spring.
That's right. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much for the great information,
You're
Mr. Rofner. Peter Rofner from Richmond Nurseries. Drop by for some ideas or anywhere you want. Fantastic stuff.